Okay, so I'm Heidi Broom. I have been on the Sunshine Coast for about 2 years. I am a graduate in sociology, so very, I guess, people-oriented, but bizarrely I fell into tech at a very young age, so straight out of uni. So imposter syndrome was huge. Everyone else was a propeller head, and I kind of wasn't. And I guess, later in my journey, I realised that I had AuDHD. Didn't know at the time, but as a result, that whole wiring of being one step ahead was something that, I don't know, just helped me thrive in that environment. But it wasn't sustainable. So, many decades later, I kind of had a massive burnout. And during that, I guess as a youngster, I was not really encouraged creatively, even though when I look back and reflect, I was so creative as a child. I used to make things, draw things, paint things, but there comes that point where, you can't do this, what you're told, so therefore you're not creative. So I kind of shut that away, even though bizarrely in tech, I've been on the creative side, all about innovation, driving change, but with a very human-centric lens. So a bit of a hippie in corporate, I guess. It's how I'd put it now, reflecting back, although at the time I think I was masking very well. I guess when you come to that point in your life where what's it all about, for some reason, painting really called me, like bizarrely, and I feel very blessed to have had the resources and space and time to explore that, which I really did. And my friends just sort of bullied me to put myself out there. And I guess the rest is sort of snowballed quite organically from that. I haven't pursued anything. It's, very, bizarre. All those cliches have sort of come to fruition where when you align, everything just kind of comes in. So it's been lovely actually. And moving up to the Sunshine Coast was very much a life move to support my daughter, going to USC. She's creative film. And love it. So inspiration-wise, a lot comes from around the coast, even though it perhaps doesn't look like it in my work. I'm very inspired by obviously the natural environment, but rocks, I'm such a rock geek. I don't know. There are certain places that I just properly geek out on, like Pumicestown Island. I love it there. Like just the rock formations are springboards. So quite often underneath my paintings, they start very much like that, and then who knows where they'll go. It's a very inspiring place. Love it. And the fact that you wake up every day like motivated in paradise doesn't hurt at all. Awesome. So the whole perfectionism to vulnerability thing, I think, is very much a both personal and I think reflective take on women in today's society in very, very many ways. I think, and I don't know, obviously I only know my own lived experience, but certainly we're kind of, I guess, programmed from a young age to, we know what we need to be. So, that's being a good girl, doing all the things, so you kind of lean into that. And I think when it got to the point that it wasn't really sustainable, I was running 9 countries, and the breadwinner in my family, not really supported emotionally or financially, so I come to a point where it was just like, what am I doing? My body kind of forced me to stop. And I think through that, again, it's very cliche, the whole nuke your whole life and start again. But it really had to be done. It was really, really painful to go through. But I've always been open. I've always been aligned to being truthful about feelings, being open to what's really going on. And I think the more people are open about that, the more it gives license to other people to be open about that. I actually genuinely believe if you're not somehow affected it mentally by today's pace, then there's an element of disassociation. You know, how can you be a feeling person and not be a little bit overwhelmed? You know, so yeah, I think it was just, again, the whole neurospicy diagnosis was removing the mask, being authentic, and that's what I love about art, because I can't control it, don't know what I'm doing, refuse to do the classic training because that's so old me, you know what I need to do and elevate, whereas obviously I've learned what I need to do from an archival standard, but as far as how things work, and I actually love that I don't know, and that's so freeing. The fact that I brought you in here today with all my work in a fugly stage, it's like, that's progress for me. Like, normally I'd have been like, oh no, sorry, my house is out of bounds. But I really, it's not that I don't care, it's just that I know it doesn't represent who I am, definitively, there's many strings to all of us. So I think it's freeing to not be so, just committed to what we produce, to me, I think it's more I'm expressing emotions, which is why at the exhibition we spoke very much about, I had got an international opportunity, and because my original work was huge, I looked at scaling down a little bit, but I'm more about the big work, that's the only restrictive thing at the moment, is just the size of my space. I'm used to having massive space, and then it's very much, the flow is a physical flow as well as a mental flow. You just kind of lose yourself. So I don't know, just abstractly expressing feelings, I guess. And as I say, every canvas can be ugly, like layers of stuff that just makes me go, but I enjoyed it, and then suddenly things will just come together, and it'll just be like, whoa, what just happened? It's like you become possessed, and then ta-da, and knowing when to stop. And again, that's something that is about vulnerability, because old me would have never put anything, I'd have just questioned it to, changed it a bajillion times, but now I just go, no, it's done, next, which is so freeing to be able to do that, because I definitely never used to, could never believe that I would have been so vulnerable putting myself out there. It's very freeing. I've always been a colourful person, always, and gosh, jumpers, find one I like, I have it in every colour. Trainers, all my Adidas, I've literally got them. I don't know. So I guess it's a natural thing, and that's very much a joyous celebration. It lights me up, have fun, and then it's like an experiment. I mean, this is all really brown and yuck at the minute, but it's been fun. When you put different colours on, it's like a scientific experiment, really. Especially, I love playing with translucence and how they, just kind of synergize things and pull it all together. It's play. It's play. It literally is. Which is why I don't like knowing the rules, because then I love breaking rules anyway. So, but it's freeing not even knowing what they are. 100%. That is freedom. Yeah, exactly. And it was quite almost confronting in a way, at the exhibition to arrive and actually go, oh, that actually looks all right on the wall, because you kind of don't really know. You don't really, I haven't seen enough to know where I fit, if that makes sense. Don't know. So seeing people in the exhibition looking at my work, it did make me feel lots of emotions, both extremes. Both extremes of emotions, I felt a little bit awkward, but equally, very humbled. It's a great opportunity. It felt very, overly, personal. What's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, just a little bit selfish almost. I'm not used to. I'm used to presenting and things in my line of work when it's just about generic stuff, not about me. So I did feel a little bit exposed, but equally excited. Yeah, it was lovely actually. Yeah, really good conversation. Yeah, so yeah, it was good. So if somebody goes along to the exhibition, what would they expect? That's a very interesting question. I hope that they will find my work a little bit submersive. Like, I hope it pulls them in, like, to a happy place, you know. Yeah, I don't know. It is about freedom and letting go, really. But art's so subjective, like, it's personal, isn't it? So, but I do hope that it will be a positive feeling that's evoked. That has been the feedback I've had so far, which is nice. Yeah, but I guess ultimately, it's hopefully, you know, people need a sign to pick up a paintbrush. This is it. Do it. Anyone can, you know. We're all creative. We just tell ourselves we're not. So as far as people being told that they're not creative, we learn not to be creative. Like, we're all so creative. I love the book The Artist's Way. What's her surname? Julia. Gonna forget now. I've forgotten totally. Anyway, The Artist's Way. So good, because that really does totally take you out of your head and just into creativity. I love it actually. That was a real passport to freedom for me. I still haven't finished it, but you know, even just the first just the license, the whole mental approach, it takes you back to your childhood and just removes all judgment, I think. And I think that's ultimately it. Like, yeah, I had got into such a very rigid career, you know, very professional and corporate, you know, your soul is owned, your voice is owned, you know, and as for somebody who's extremely sensitive to society, very expressive, like, it was very caging for me. Like, I kind of felt like I didn't own my own voice, yeah, which was really hard. And painting, totally the opposite. It's like, and even if, you know, there's some work that you wouldn't know, but it started with such release of anger and, you know, and all the rest of it, and then like ends up, you know, something that I feel, you know, is come together quite positively. But again, I guess it's like, as in art, as in life, you know, it's a balance, isn't it? You know, so yeah, it's been very freeing, and absolutely everyone is creative. I really do believe you just pick up a paintbrush, a pen, whatever, and you know, you're unaware what you're capable of. You just got to give yourself the time and license to do it. Yeah, 100%. Oh gosh, what's next for me? Oh, well, more of all the things I enjoy, you know. It's such a blessing, midlife. Yeah, to be here, you know, and to be given a little bit more freedom, time. Yeah, I'm just following my creative pursuits, see where it leads me. Surfing, DJing, all the things, you know, music and art. I love how they marry together. So, yeah, I'd love to explore more about that, actually, aligning the two. Yeah, but we'll see. There's no rush. Well, music, yeah. So music really does play an influence, like massive. Like, music has been something that has lit me up from such a young age. And I think, you know, you don't even realise how it's similar to art. Like, it's emotive, isn't it? It's a feeling, and I think, yeah, in many ways, if you're the sort of person that gets lit up in nature and gets lit up with music, you'll be lit up in art. You know, it's just a synergy. Like, you could pull the three together. Yeah, so I very much love house music, like things with beats. I love lots of genres of music though, but DJing is very much with beats. So, but then I also love experimental music. I don't know if you've heard Niels Fram. He's like a Belgian composer, electronic. He has a wall of like synths and things, and yeah, so I will get very different outcomes to if I'm listening to Doof Doof and having a good old dance, you know, to if I'm Niels Fram, it's almost like, it's a different vibe and it brings a different result, you know. But it's so freeing because I get out of my head and just into movement, yeah. And it actually makes a very different impact from a creative perspective, and it aids being in flow, you know. On all levels, yeah. It's actually, yeah, it's a buzz. Yeah, like it. Highly recommended. But yeah, I do have, follow me on Instagram, but it's DJ underscore Heidi, HIDEE, because that's very much where I've been putting a lot of time and energy. But I do a mix and then I paint that mix, so there's a lot of synergy there. I'm also on Blue Thumb under Heidi Broom. Yeah, and I do need to put all of my work that's been done in the last few years on there because I need to update that. So thank you. That's my takeaway.